Hi everyone, it's Sloan Rhodes here. I wanted to make this recording for you today about the difficulty many people have with being authentic or understanding even how to be authentic or what that means for them. I do have a podcast episode entitled Being Authentic Allows Your Needs to Be Met, and there's a link here. But this recording is to help you understand more clearly what it means to be authentically yourself. So first of all, a lot of times, well, let me back it up. This idea that many people have about being authentically themselves begins from the misunderstanding that who they are is what their egoic identity is. So when you're being encouraged to be authentically yourself or to be authentic, many people go to their notion of who they are, which is from the mind, from the ego, and a construct of the ego of their self, you know. And so it's important to kind of roll it back through the layers of egoic conditioning and social, familial, economic, cultural constructs and egoic conditions. Because who we are is extremely simple at its core. But there are many, many egoic layers that create our egoic identity. So is it any wonder that many people, all of us at some point can experience this and know this, can forget how to be themselves, who they truly are, and how to be authentic in their words, their actions, and the experience of their life. So one of the first things that you can do on a practical scale is to acknowledge that you are more than the person you think you are, right? Everything upon the planet Earth is much more multifaceted than we could ever begin to understand as humans. So when you hold that understanding, when you know that at your core to be true, that you are not just the person your mind thinks you are, you know, the eldest child, the youngest child, the person of this ethnicity or cultural background or gender identity, if you can understand that all of that makes up, yes, who you are on the planet Earth, but it is not authentically who you are. Who you are is an eternal soul. You are having the experience as this individual. So when you are being asked to drop into the heart, or you have a desire to be more authentic, hold that understanding first. So let's just say that it's a given, right? We're not arguing this point. Let's give it as a given that we are more than our notion of who we are on this planet. Well, that allows a lot more freedom to respond to the experience that you are having. So when you no longer see yourself as, in my case, a female, a white female, right? To be blunt, it's very cut and dry. I no longer have to respond to experiences from that egoic identity. I can respond with more of an open heart to all people, all experiences, without the need to hang on to that identity, to feel my feathers get ruffled if someone treats me in terms of my egoic identity, my egoic perception. If someone treats me in a way that doesn't recognize who I think I am, so I don't have to respond from a place of ego. I can just respond from a place of open-hearted acceptance and love of all the experiences I'm having, right? So It's something to think about with your mind, of course, and it's something to play with in your experience, because a lot of times we create situations where we aren't being authentic because we are reacting from the place of the ego, because our egoic identity is being challenged, seemingly. Uh, uh, our egoic identity is being, sometimes it feels like it's being threatened to the ego, so we feel like we have to fight back, right? Uh, I'm being disrespected, you know. Are you? Or is it just what your mind, your ego, your egoic identity imagines is occurring based on who you think you are and who you think the other person is? So it creates a lot of tension throughout the days, weeks, months, years, when we keep reacting and reacting to these seeming threats and challenges to our egoic sense of self. So when you are being asked to be authentic and drop into the heart, from my perspective, what I mean when I'm working with people or talking with people by that is you come from a place where you aren't resisting or fighting against what is occurring based on what you think you should be, what you think, who you think you are, and how you think you should respond based on who you think you are. It's deep work. It takes a level of conscious awareness that can be played with, expanded upon, and mastered. But it creates a lot more peace in your life, more opportunities for peace. And when you feel peaceful, everything opens up. But when you're feeling on guard, when you're feeling as though you're right and they're wrong, there's that separation. And with the separation comes that tension, the anxiety. Now, it's not always easy to drop into the heart and be more peaceful, because we are accustomed to that level of anxiety and adrenaline in our physical bodies, in our energy system. So when it dissipates and we come into peace, it feels sometimes uncomfortable, or we feel vulnerable because we are accustomed to the fight, right? Or the flight, or even the freeze. You know, there's many different ways to respond to external stimuli that feels threatening. So I guess what I was hoping to leave you with this recording is to remember that you are authentically a child of the universe. You are authentically an eternal soul. You are also authentically a human being with many, many, many layers upon layers of egoic conditioning. So be gentle with yourself, but also play with it a little bit. Imagine what it would be like to be not who you think you are in any given situation or circumstance. Are you the person who drives a nice car? Are you the person who doesn't have a car? Or are you more than that? Are you the person who never gets respect? Or are you the person who demands respect? It's all egoic conditioning. You're more than that. You don't need to react from that place where of who you think you are. Being authentic is about being open. Saying what feels right and true for you in the moment. Not from a place of fear necessarily, even though if that comes up, that's fine. That's being authentically human, yes. But if you can drop into the heart even more and say, gosh, I reacted from that place of anger because I felt threatened, or I felt uncomfortable, or I didn't know how else to respond, or just out of familiarity. But I'm choosing now to understand that that is not who I truly am. The authentic reaction was from a place of openness and love, and to say, yes, you're having this exchange with me. You're angry with me. Now, if I identify with that anger as someone who needs to fight against it, that creates stress, and that prolongs a situation that is already fraught with problems. You're angry with me, I understand. And when you're feeling more peaceful, when you're coming from the heart, when you're coming from the authentic place, the deep wellspring of who you truly are, this eternal soul, and you bring forth that sense of peacefulness because you know there is no threat. You know that there is nothing that can occur that could ever harm you as an eternal soul. You begin to reflect that peace back to the universal oneness in terms of your external experience here on planet Earth, whether it be with a person or a situation. Now, if it's a person and you are reflecting, if you are emanating peace, you are reflecting that individual's peace back to them. Now, they may not be able to take it all in, but they get to see what it looks like on some small level. It depends on how open they are. So there's nothing for them to fight against necessarily. It may frustrate them. They may not know how to react. And their anger and their ego may supersede and cover up, obscure the peace that you are reflecting back to them. But it's still there. And when they're coming at you with anger, when you're feeling more peace, you don't experience that reflection of anger back to yourself as often or as intensely, because you're coming from a place of peace. So of course you're human, so you may have some anger within you. Of course, that's fine. You are authentically human, as I mentioned. But as you drop into the heart more and you become more authentically who you truly are, which is a spark of the all that is, right? You are an extension of source energy, which is only love. Then that begins to be your new norm. It becomes more familiar to you than the inauthentic experience of the egoic conditioning of who you think you are, or who you thought you were, or who you think or thought the other person was, or the situation. So it's something to play with. It's a journey. But I wanted to offer that to you today because it came up and I thought it might be helpful for some of you. And I know it's always helpful for me as well to make these videos and to do the podcast episodes because just like all of you, I'm human, and so even though this is part of my life's work to understand this and to bring it out to help others as well as myself, it's still helpful for me to listen sometimes to my own recordings as well as to the recordings of others and books and whatever, because when I'm making the videos or doing the episodes, it's I channel through information that I need to hear again later when I'm caught up in my own ego. So anyway, I hope that you find that helpful. And of course, you're welcome to leave comments or to email me if you have any questions. I know that I was making the Q&A videos, and I stopped for a short while, but if anyone would like me to address something here in a video form, you can leave me the question here, or you can email it to me, and if you don't want your name mentioned, I won't mention your name, but I do enjoy doing the Q&A videos because if someone asks a question, that means for sure that many other people have the same exact question or some version of it. And so don't be shy, because it will help others, just like when you're in school and they say there are no dumb questions, it's true, because if you have a question, guaranteed other people are seeking clarity on that very same issue. So anyway, I wish you much love, and I will see you next time.